Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So if you don't know me, I'm the eventing canon and I'm on this big journey to make my way up to 2-star eventing. Unfortunately, I've never jumped higher than 95 and I don't have a horse to do it. So meet Ruby. So Ruby is my off-the-track thoroughbred. I got her back in September 2024. This was the day that she arrived. She was very small, very tiny. She was very, very uncertain, and she was just very exciting to get. So this whole video is about Ruby's progress because I always watch thoroughbreds and it's always hard comparing your thoroughbred to another thoroughbred. So here it is from day dot. So when I first brought her in, I just brought her in and did groundwork with her because we bought her sight unseen from Event Stars. So I actually personally hadn't met her before. So I was like, I want to be sure that she's not going to be crazy before I'll hop on and ride her. This is my first ever ride on her, and as you can see, she's very small, very scrawny, and very much off the track thoroughbred vibe. I was a bit nervous riding her because she was quite spooky and it's very scary in our arena, and this is my first reaction to her. Oh my god! That is so nice! She is so active through her high head. I think we got a good one, Mum. So, as you can see, I was very excited about Ruby because we bought Ruby as an eventing horse. This was my first ever canter on her, and as you can see, she's very unbalanced, and so am I. We then took her out and did quite a bit of hacking with her in the first stages. This is actually her first time out hacking, and sometimes with thoroughbreds, they won't hack. They'll jig jog and be silly. But as you can see with Ruby, she's already quite independent and just quite happy just to tuck her along. I did a quite amount of schooling just out in the back paddock where it's a little bit more secluded just to see what she was like. I mainly just focused on walking and trotting with her because cantering was definitely a bit awkward because I'm also a bit awkward myself. So as you can see here, this is a different day. She's definitely she's quite balanced. She's very naturally balanced for a thoroughbred. As you can see, she can carry her head, but she's still very much not through my legs. But that is totally fine. Being off the track thoroughbred, I was very impressed with her. This was our first ever jumping. Jumping was definitely an interesting time because I ride little ponies and this is my first horse and I haven't actually done a heck of a lot of jumping. And one thing I struggled with her is that she would run out and I just couldn't do anything about it because she's just not moving through my leg and I was just very weak in the seat. And as you can see, we do some very awkward looking jumps. And then this is a different day, a couple of weeks later, and you can see we're definitely a bit more braver. This is, I think, the second jump session. We didn't do a heck of a lot of jumping in the first couple of months that we had her because I think it's because I just didn't really feel brave enough to jump heaps. At the start, when I first get a horse, one of the things we do is a lot of hacking, and we also like to find things and just make them clamber all over it so they get used to just random as things. And in this case, a ditch. And we actually found Ruby was very, very uncertain. I had to hop off her, let her over multiple times before she even would consider jumping it. And then this is her a couple of weeks later. She was definitely a bit more braver, but we were a bit oh, she's not very brave at all. She was very reluctant to try anything. And I just felt like I'd ask the same thing and she'd be like, nope. And I just couldn't do anything about it. So I think we're about maybe 2 months in now with Ruby, and this is when I felt like we were finally starting to get somewhere with her because I just felt like I just wasn't doing anything with her. And as you can see, look at these videos, she's definitely already looking a lot more balanced. I definitely was having quite a few issues with getting her to canter on her race rein. As you can see, I'm trying here and she just rushes off, all just strikes on the wrong leg. And that's due to the fact that I'm a games rider and me and her have the same both weak legs. And I just lean and then because of that, she can't strike off properly. So it definitely was very much a long work in progress to get her to strike off on that correct leg. And then when she did, I let her just lope round and come back. This is probably the first proper time I actually jumped her over something because the other videos she's seen, I literally jumped like a little crossbow once or twice, and then that was me. And you just, as you can see, I'm still very much also trying to find myself. But it was very exciting riding her because I could definitely tell she had some power there. And like I said, she was just very unsure. And if she didn't like something, she just did not want to try it, which I really struggled with a lot at the start. She can definitely jump though, but both between me and her were figuring out how to jump and just getting to know each other. So there was quite a few ugly looking jumps in there. I was also lucky enough to get a few lessons with Ruby, and this was a really big game changer, this lesson. So what my coach did is that she made me just work on slowing Ruby down, because Ruby's very much a rush, go, go, go horse, and just focus on using her back end. So we didn't even focus on her head. We just focused on letting her use her butt. And as you can see, she definitely is a lot more settled, a lot more balanced. And I really felt like we were just starting to get somewhere in the schooling. This is a little jump session I had with her. So I started putting up wings on the side to try help stop her from running out when she didn't want to jump something. And then I just didn't really jump her heaps much over summer because we did a lot of hacking out and trekking, and we just let her clamber over everything. So I stopped putting the pressure on her to jump and for me to figure out how to jump. And we just literally just hacked out and had fun and just tried to focus on getting her out of her race brain, because she's definitely very much, she wouldn't get silly, but she'd get very unsettled. So I think what happened here is, so we had all the hacking and then we had winter, and she was lame for so long. I think I didn't ride her for like 4 or 5 months because she had a blow up in her stomach and then she went lame, and then this is kind of her first couple of rides back after being out for so long. I think I did quite a bit of hacking again, and then I went into this video. And then, so we had all that break, got her back up in fitness, and then my first proper jumping session was with Lucinda Green. And Lucinda Green is amazing because this is the boost we needed, because I felt like everything I needed help with was helped in this lesson. So Ruby reared up on the way here. She was honestly ballistic because we've discovered with her she gets very, very upset in the warm-up ring. So coming into here, I was pooping my pants pretty much. And as you can tell by my riding and her being very tense, we were just not having a good time. And this is by the end of it, you can see I'm a lot more relaxed and a lot more loose. But we can just see with me and Ruby, we were just not really gelling very well. I was just trying so hard not to fall off. Like I definitely felt like I was at my max capacity with a horse that I could handle. And when she gets going, she very much gets going. So just a little context, this is in November 2025. So we have had Ruby for a full year now, and a large proportion of that was her sitting in the paddock because she was lame and just needed time off because of her racing. So now we're in November 2025, and this is where we finally actually really start to get together with her. So we did a whole heap of hacking, and then we did this Lucinda Green clinic. And Lucinda Green, like I said, was honestly amazing with Ruby. You can very much see the Eventer starting to come out in her and Ruby. And on top of that, Ruby herself is looking amazing. She is so much more balanced. She's definitely still a bit tight in the neck, but that's just me and her being very tense. And she has put on a lot more weight, and she is very much really put together. I am liking the fact that Ruby is also very naturally athletic, so I could come out and do this Lucinda Green without doing a whole heap of jumping, because as you can see beforehand, I hadn't done a lot of jumping. And this was my favourite combination of the day. So Lucinda said you can jump whenever one you want. So I was like, okay, I want to do the 80 and see if she's got some ping. And that horse can ping. So this was our first proper little competition. It's the Twilight little show jumping that was nearby me. And once again, Ruby blew up in the warm-up ring. So this is our round. And as you can see, Ruby is definitely very unsure, very tense. She's definitely very good in the fact that if she blows up in the warm-up ring, but then you take her into the actual ring, she's really, really good because she knows her job. Like Ruby loves to have a job. So I have to apologise for the footage. So this is filmed in portrait, then I've just zoomed in because back then I wasn't doing my YouTubes. But, so what I did in these competitions, I spent a lot of the time just literally trotting the entire course. And if she got a bit rushy, I would do a circle, bring her back to the walk if need be, then present her at the fence. She's still very unsure about things, I find, but she's definitely was starting to become a lot more braver than what I expected. Because as you saw in that cross-country course, she was very much like fine to jump everything. So this little twilight competition, we just did the 65, did the course once, and then just left her be because I felt like she was just getting quite wound up with everything in the arena. So we were just sticking to the lower heights with her. And then this was it 2 weeks later, and she's already so much more relaxed. I think is because of the fact that A, we'd been here before, B, there were much less people, and I was also more relaxed myself. So we're doing the same little course, same little height. Obviously the course is different, but it's at the same spot, same height. And I was like very, very happy with Ruby this session. She was so lovely and relaxed. Because Ruby was so relaxed and going so well, we decided to chuck her in the 80, which we already had planned to do, but we do it like we enter in the lower height, then the bigger height, and if we're like, okay, they're not having a good time, we won't do the bigger height. But she was being so good, and look at her go. She was just being absolutely awesome around these bigger courses. So this is looking forward to then another 2 weeks. So just for content again, this is in 2025 and this is in the start of January. So I'm just popping her around this little derby day. These derby days are amazing because they're schooling events, so you can come around, take your time, and in this case again we entered in the smaller height and the bigger height, but we actually ended up pulling out the bigger height and doing the smaller height again because you're allowed to do this at these type of competitions. Ruby was definitely very much on edge on this competition. We were late getting there because of the weather. It was extremely bad weather in general, and it just wasn't a good vibe overall. She did super in the fact that she low-key blew her brains in the warm-up. I had to trot around. I do apologise in the fact there is no warm-up footage like ever because for some reason Mum always misses it, but that's alright because you'll get one coming up soon. So I was jumping all these and I just felt like she wasn't being very confident for Ruby. Like this one up here, she was just not really wanting to have it, and I was just like, I feel like her brain is actually a bit fried. So I ended up doing this course again in the 65, and I was like, yep, I'm glad I didn't do the 80, because you will see in a minute. So I'm just letting her take a second here. I like to let them have a look at the jump, take a second, reset themselves, and then come around and jump it again. And she's a lot better. But when I was leading her back, she blew her brain. She reared up on me. She was just not having a good time. I was just trying to walk her back without anybody getting bowled over or anything. And as you can see, she very much turns into a dragon when she gets upset. So this is what she's like in the warm-up. She gets very, very upset. And I just have to just keep quietly riding her through until she figures out that we're doing jumping, not racing around. So then this is a lesson with Abby Long. Abby Long was so amazing. It's at the Dragon Park Equestrian, and I loved this place. There were so many little tiny jumps that we could just do and not worry about the height and actually worry about setting ourselves up and just me riding better, but just coming into the jumps and letting her see lots of different things. She was super in the fact that she was out on her own. She was super relaxed. There were no silliness from her. It was just basically me letting her see as many jumps as possible. So she's getting better with ditches, but as you can see, once she's like, she doesn't really want to do something. So Abby was really good in the fact that she's like, just let her come up to it, let her sniff it, and just let her take a second in front of the jump. And Abby actually walked in front of her, and Ruby is like, oh, it's not that bad. And at the end of the session, you can see she's definitely way better with ditches than what she was at the start. She's also super with water now. Like, she honestly is not phased about going in and out of water, which I'm like super about. It's really quite nice to see that Ruby is getting a lot braver and a lot more willing to try things, that we really focused on just her confidence in the early stages before we even really thought about jumping anything. And this is my latest event with her, because Ruby is actually lame at the moment, so she is just chilling. So this is in the end of January with Laura Collett, who was amazing to get a lesson with. And look at Ruby go. She has come such a long way, right? Ruby is full-fledged, ready to be an eventer. She is very, very confident in her jumping, and very much long as I've got myself together, she is more than willing to try. We're at that stage now where I'm really happy how the jumping's going. I'm really happy how our confidence is going. But now, before we think about jumping anything bigger, because Ruby can definitely jump bigger, is my riding. My riding is now the one that's letting us down. Even though I definitely need to be working my riding this entire time, I'm definitely there's a lot I need to work on. We're really going to step back now and focus on schooling with Ruby. So this was a cross-country clinic with Laura Collett. So we did day 1 as show jumping and then day 2 as cross-country. And it was just so awesome really coming out here and doing this with Ruby. Ruby has come such a long way with her riding. We still get a lot of awkward jumps because now that's just down to me. Ruby is at that stage where she's like, I'll jump it. As long as you got the leg on, you got me straight, I'll do it. And it's just me getting myself together. Ruby has taught me so much, and I definitely feel like this mare is going to be a superstar. So as you can see here, I'm still very much needing to sort myself out before I jump anything bigger, because I panic before bigger jumps. So it's just working towards that. But these are definitely some on the bigger side, and definitely a bit of an ask for me and Ruby. And Ruby has no issue jumping all of this. She is honestly so super, and it's just so nice looking back on my older videos and just seeing how far we have come. Like I said, she's so brave now. She's so willing. We very much took the time to get her confidence via the trekking, getting to know her, really just allowing her to reset herself after racing. And I am so excited to see where this horse takes me, because I think she's going to be a superstar. Do you think she'll be my 2-star eventer? I think so.